When HOA President Karen shot my disabled daughter in our front yard, she thought her money and connections would save her. She had no idea I'm a federal judge. And she definitely didn't know about the evidence I'd been collecting. Karen made one fatal mistake: she messed with the wrong family. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm a federal judge. I've been on the bench for 15 years. I've seen the worst of humanity. Drug dealers. Murderers. Corrupt politicians. But nothing prepared me for what happened to my daughter Emma. Emma is 12 years old. She has cerebral palsy. She uses a wheelchair. Her smile lights up every room she enters. She's brave. She's funny. She's everything good in this world. We live in a gated community called Riverside Estates. It's supposed to be safe. Quiet. Family-friendly. But our HOA president, Karen Whitmore, made our lives hell. It started small. Karen would complain about Emma's wheelchair ramp. She said it ruined the aesthetic. She complained about the accessible van in our driveway. She said it was too large and unsightly. I tried to reason with her. I showed her the ADA laws. The Fair Housing Act. Nothing worked. Karen didn't care about laws. She only cared about her power. Then things got worse. Karen started filing violations against us. $20 here. $50 there. Our grass was too long by half an inch. Our mailbox was the wrong shade of black. Emma's therapy equipment on our porch was prohibited storage. I paid the fines. I kept my head down. I had to focus on Emma and my work. But Karen wasn't satisfied. One Tuesday afternoon, Emma was in our front yard. She was doing her physical therapy exercises. Her therapist, Mrs. Chen, was helping her. Emma was laughing. She was having a good day. Karen pulled up in her white Mercedes. She got out. Her face was red with anger. This is a violation. Karen screamed. Therapy sessions are commercial activity. Not allowed in residential zones. Mrs. Chen tried to explain. This is medical treatment. The child needs. I don't care. Karen cut her off. I'm calling the police. Emma started crying. She gets overwhelmed by yelling. Her body tensed up. Mrs. Chen tried to calm her. I came running outside. I'd been on a conference call inside. Karen, stop. I said. You're scaring my daughter. Your daughter is a violation of community standards. Karen shouted. Those words. I'll never forget them. My daughter, my beautiful, innocent daughter, was a violation. I stepped toward Karen. My hands were shaking with rage. But I'm a judge. I know the law. I kept my distance. You need to leave my property now, I said coldly. Or I'll call the police myself. Karen laughed. It was a cruel sound. You think you're so important. A big fancy judge. But here. I'm the authority. I run this community. And I'm going to make sure you and your defective daughter are removed. She called Emma defective. Mrs. Chen gasped. Emma was sobbing. I was frozen with shock and fury. Karen turned to leave. Then she stopped. She reached into her designer purse. Everything happened so fast. Karen pulled out a gun. A small silver pistol. I'm sick of you people, she screamed. Sick of your violations. Sick of looking at that crippled child. She pointed the gun at Emma. Mrs. Chen threw herself in front of the wheelchair. I ran toward my daughter. The shot rang out. Time stopped. Emma screamed. A scream I still hear in my nightmares. The bullet hit Emma's left shoulder. Blood bloomed across her pink therapy shirt. Emma slumped in her wheelchair. Her eyes rolled back. "Emma!" I screamed. Mrs. Chen was calling 911. I reached Emma. I pressed my hands against the wound. Blood poured through my fingers. "Stay with me, baby," I sobbed. "Stay with me." Emma's eyes fluttered. "Mommy, hurts." "I know, sweetheart. I know. Help is coming." Karen stood there. The gun still in her hand. Her face was pale. She seemed shocked by what she'd done. I didn't mean." She stammered. "Drop the gun," a voice shouted. Our neighbor, Mr. Peterson, a retired cop, had come running. He had his own weapon drawn. Karen dropped the pistol. She started crying. Fake tears. Crocodile tears. "It was an accident." Karen wailed. "She provoked me. The judge provoked me." The ambulance arrived. Paramedics rushed to Emma. They worked on her wound. They loaded her onto a stretcher. I climbed into the ambulance with her. I held her small hand. Police arrested Karen at the scene. She was screaming about her rights. About how she was defending herself. Defending herself from a 12-year-old child in a wheelchair. At the hospital, Emma went straight into surgery. The bullet had shattered her shoulder. Damaged nerves. The doctors weren't sure if she'd ever have full use of her left arm again. I sat in the waiting room. Blood, my daughter's blood, was dried on my hands and clothes. My husband James arrived. He's a teacher. He'd been at work. He collapsed into my arms when I told him what happened. "She shot our baby," he kept repeating. "She shot our baby." The surgery took 4 hours. 4 hours of hell. 4 hours of not knowing if Emma would be okay. Finally, the surgeon came out. Dr. Martinez. His face was tired but kind. "Emma is stable," he said. "The surgery went well. But there's extensive nerve damage. She'll need months of physical therapy. Maybe more surgeries. It's too soon to know if she'll regain full function." I nodded. I couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. "She's alive," Dr. Martinez added gently. "That's what matters right now. She's alive." Karen Whitmore was arrested on the scene. She was charged with attempted murder. Aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Assault on a disabled child. She made bail within 24 hours. $200,000. She paid it like it was nothing. That's when I learned Karen's secret. Her husband wasn't just wealthy. He was connected. Political donations. Country club memberships. Friends in high places. Karen thought she was untouchable. The next week, while Emma was still in the hospital recovering, I received a letter. From Karen's lawyer. The letter claimed Karen was the real victim. It said Emma and I had harassed and threatened her for months. It said Karen had fired the gun in self-defense and the shooting was accidental. The letter also included a counter-lawsuit. Karen was suing us for emotional distress and defamation. She wanted $5 million. I sat in Emma's hospital room, reading this letter, and I felt something break inside me. No. Not break. Something crystallized. Hardened into diamond-sharp focus. Karen had made the biggest mistake of her life. She shot a federal judge's daughter. And she thought she'd get away with it. I made a phone call. To my colleague, Judge Bernard Hayes. He oversees criminal cases in our district. I explained the situation. I recused myself from anything related to the case, obviously. But I wanted to make sure everything was handled properly. Sarah, Judge Hayes said quietly. I promise you. Justice will be served. But justice moves slowly. And Karen was free. Walking around. Shopping. Having lunch with her country club friends. Meanwhile, Emma was in agony. The shoulder wound was healing. But the nerve damage was severe. She couldn't lift her left arm. She couldn't feed herself. Couldn't brush her own hair. The physical pain was bad enough. But the emotional trauma was worse. Emma was terrified of going outside. She had nightmares every night. She screamed when she heard loud noises. My bright, happy daughter had become a frightened shadow. I took a leave of absence from the bench. I needed to be with Emma. To help her heal. But at night, after Emma finally fell asleep, I worked. I researched Karen Whitmore. Her history. Her past. What I found was disturbing. Karen had been HOA president for 8 years. During that time, she'd filed over 300 violation complaints against residents. She'd sued 12 families. She'd forced 5 families to sell their homes and move. There was a pattern. Karen targeted the vulnerable. Elderly residents. Single mothers. Anyone who couldn't fight back. One elderly man, Mr. Thompson, had died of a heart attack 2 days after Karen filed a lawsuit against him over a fence dispute. His family blamed Karen. Said the stress killed him. A single mother with 2 autistic children had gone bankrupt paying Karen's violation fines and legal fees. They'd lost their home. Karen was a bully. A predator. And she'd been doing it for years with no consequences. I dug deeper. I found Karen's husband, Richard Whitmore, owned several properties in our county. Properties with code violations. Properties with illegal additions. Unpermitted work. Richard also had business connections to several local politicians. Campaign contributions. Consulting fees. Things that smelled like corruption if you knew where to look. And I knew where to look. I'm a federal judge. I've investigated criminal enterprises. I know how to follow the money. I made copies of everything. Bank records. Property records. Court filings. I built a file 6 inches thick. 3 months after the shooting, Karen's trial began. Emma was still in physical therapy. Still having nightmares. But she was slowly getting better. She could lift her arm a little. She could smile sometimes. The trial was assigned to Judge Hayes, as expected. The prosecutor was Diana Martinez, one of the toughest in the district. I'd worked with her before. She was brilliant. Relentless. I couldn't attend the trial. Conflict of interest. I was both a witness and the victim's mother. But I got daily updates from Diana. Karen's defense strategy was predictable. She claimed self-defense. Said she was in fear for her life from Emma and me. The defense painted Emma as a threat. A 12-year-old disabled child as a threat. They showed photos of our home. Said the clutter of medical equipment proved we were unstable. They brought in a psychological expert who claimed I had anger issues and had threatened Karen multiple times. It was all lies. But it was their strategy. Diana destroyed them methodically. She called Mrs. Chen to the stand. The therapist described everything. Karen's rage. Her hate speech. Her targeting of Emma. She called Mr. Peterson, the retired cop. He testified about Karen's behavior. How she'd been looking for a confrontation for months. She called 12 other residents from our HOA. One by one, they testified about Karen's reign of terror. The harassment. The lawsuits. The cruelty. An elderly woman, Mrs. Garcia, cried on the stand. She described how Karen had mocked her accent. Filed violations against her rose garden. Made her life miserable until she almost moved. A young couple with a Down syndrome child testified that Karen had tried to ban them from using the community pool. Said their son was disruptive. The pattern was clear. Karen Whitmore hated anyone who was different. Anyone who didn't meet her standard of perfection. Then Diana called me to the stand. I walked into that courtroom wearing my best suit. I held my head high. I would not let Karen see me broken. Karen sat at the defense table. She wore a pastel pink dress. Pearl earrings. She looked like someone's grandmother. Harmless. Sweet. But I knew what she really was. A monster. Diana asked me to describe what happened. I did. Every detail. My voice never wavered. When I described Emma being shot, several jurors wiped their eyes. Then it was the defense attorney's turn. Harold Brewster. Expensive suit. Slicked back hair. Shark eyes. Judge Mitchell, he began smoothly. Isn't it true you had multiple confrontations with Ms. Whitmore before this incident? She harassed my family, I replied calmly. I asked her to stop. That's not a confrontation. That's self-defense. You threatened her, didn't you? I never threatened her. I informed her of the laws she was breaking. You used your position as a judge to intimidate her. I used my knowledge of the law to protect my disabled daughter from a bully. Brewster's face reddened. Your Honor, I move to strike. Overruled, Judge Hayes said. The witness may answer. Brewster tried different angles. Tried to make me seem angry. Unreasonable. Out of control. But I've been a judge for 15 years. I've faced down mafia lawyers and corrupt defense attorneys. Harold Brewster was nothing. After 2 hours, he gave up. The final witness was Emma. My baby. My brave girl. The defense fought to keep her from testifying. Said she was too young. Too traumatized. But Diana argued Emma had the right to tell her story. Judge Hayes allowed it. With special accommodations. A support person. Frequent breaks. I wasn't allowed in the courtroom when Emma testified. But Diana told me everything afterward. Emma wheeled herself to the witness stand. She wore her favorite purple dress. Her left arm was in a special brace. Diana asked her simple questions. What happened that day? What did Karen say? How did Emma feel? Emma's voice was quiet but clear. She said I was defective, Emma testified. She said I was a violation. She said she was sick of looking at me. Several jurors were openly crying. Are you scared? Diana asked gently. Emma nodded. I'm scared of loud noises now. I'm scared to go outside. I have bad dreams. Do you feel safe? Emma looked directly at Karen. Karen wouldn't meet her eyes. No, Emma said. Not while she's free. The courtroom was silent. Brewster tried to cross-examine Emma. But Judge Hayes shut him down quickly. He asked 2 questions. Emma answered them. Then Judge Hayes ended it. This child has been through enough, he said firmly. The trial lasted 2 weeks. The closing arguments were powerful. Diana spoke for an hour. She laid out the evidence. The pattern of harassment. The targeting of vulnerable people. The hate speech. The shooting. Karen Whitmore shot a disabled child because she couldn't stand to look at her, Diana said. Because Emma didn't fit her picture of perfection. That's not self-defense. That's attempted murder. That's hate. Brewster argued Karen was defending herself. That the gun went off accidentally. That Karen was the real victim of a vindictive judge. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. When they came back, I was in the hallway. Waiting. Praying. Diana came out. She was smiling. Crying. Guilty, she said. On all counts. I collapsed against the wall. Relief flooded through me. Inside the courtroom, Karen screamed. She cursed the jury. Cursed the judge. Cursed me and Emma. This isn't over, she shrieked. My husband will make sure you all pay. I'll appeal. I'll sue. You can't do this to me. I'm Karen Whitmore. Judge Hayes slammed his gavel. Bailiff, remove the defendant. As they dragged Karen away, she was still screaming. Still making threats. The sentencing hearing was scheduled for 4 weeks later. During those 4 weeks, something interesting happened. Karen's husband, Richard Whitmore, filed for divorce. He released a public statement saying he did not condone his wife's actions and wanted to distance himself from her. Translation: he was protecting his money and reputation. Karen was on her own. Her bail was revoked after the guilty verdict. She sat in county jail, waiting for sentencing. Meanwhile, I received a call from the FBI. An agent named Marcus Torres asked to meet with me. He wanted to discuss Richard Whitmore's business dealings. Apparently, I wasn't the only one who'd noticed the suspicious pattern of payments and property deals. The FBI had been investigating Richard for 2 years. Tax evasion. Money laundering. Bribery of public officials. They wanted to know if I had any information. I handed over my 6-inch file. Agent Torres's eyes widened as he flipped through it. Judge Mitchell, he said slowly. This is incredibly thorough. This is evidence of at least a dozen federal crimes. I know, I said. I'm a federal judge. I know what corruption looks like. Why didn't you come to us sooner? Because I was focused on getting justice for my daughter. But now I want them both to pay. Karen for what she did to Emma. Richard for enabling her. For using his money and connections to protect a woman who shot a child. Agent Torres nodded. We'll handle Richard. You focus on Emma. The sentencing hearing arrived. Emma wanted to be there. She wanted Karen to hear her victim impact statement. I was terrified. I didn't want Emma in the same room as Karen again. But my daughter insisted. I need to do this, Mom, Emma said. I need to tell her how she hurt me. So we went. The courtroom was packed. Media. Residents from our HOA. Victims of Karen's past harassment. Karen was brought in wearing an orange jumpsuit. Her hair was messy. No makeup. She looked small. Diminished. Judge Hayes asked if anyone wanted to give a victim impact statement. Emma raised her hand. I wheeled her to the front of the courtroom. My hands were shaking. Emma looked at Karen. Karen stared at the floor. Look at me, Emma said. Her voice was stronger than I expected. Karen slowly raised her eyes. You shot me because I'm disabled, Emma said. You called me defective. A violation. You said you were sick of looking at me. Emma paused. Took a breath. I'm 12 years old. I have cerebral palsy. I can't walk. But I'm not defective. I'm not a violation. I'm a person. I have feelings. I have dreams. I want to be a writer someday. I want to help other kids like me. Tears ran down Emma's face. But her voice never wavered. You tried to kill me because you're filled with hate. Because you're a bully. Because you think you're better than everyone else. Emma looked at Judge Hayes. Then back at Karen. I hope you go to prison for a long time. Not because I want revenge. But because other people need to be safe from you. Because you need to learn that you can't hurt people and get away with it. Emma looked at me. I wheeled her back to our seats. The entire courtroom was silent except for the sound of people crying. Judge Hayes called a 10-minute recess. He needed to compose himself. When court resumed, other victims gave statements. Mrs. Garcia. The single mother who'd lost her home. The family of Mr. Thompson, who died after Karen's lawsuit. Each story was heartbreaking. Each showed Karen's pattern of cruelty. Finally, Judge Hayes spoke. I've been a judge for 23 years, he began. I've sentenced murderers, rapists, terrorists. But I've never seen such calculated cruelty toward the vulnerable. Such targeted hatred toward those who need our protection most. He looked at Karen. She was crying. But they looked like tears of self-pity, not remorse. Ms. Whitmore, you shot a disabled child. You targeted her for months. You made her life hell. You traumatized her. You nearly killed her. Judge Hayes's voice grew colder. And when caught, you showed no remorse. You claimed victimhood. You blamed a 12-year-old child in a wheelchair. He opened a folder. Read from it. The prosecution has recommended 30 years. The defense has asked for 10 years with parole eligibility after 5. Karen's lawyer nodded, hopeful. I reject both recommendations, Judge Hayes said. The courtroom gasped. For the attempted murder of Emma Mitchell, I sentence you to 40 years in federal prison. For aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 15 years consecutive. For assault on a disabled child, 10 years consecutive. For terroristic threats, 5 years consecutive. For civil rights violations under the ADA, 10 years consecutive. Karen's face went white. Her lawyer was calculating frantically. That's a total of 80 years, Ms. Whitmore. You're 62 years old. You'll die in prison. Karen screamed. No. No. This is excessive. This is cruel. I have rights. So did Emma Mitchell, Judge Hayes said coldly. So did all the people you terrorized for 8 years. You showed them no mercy. You'll receive none in return. Bailiff, remove the prisoner. Karen fought as they dragged her away. She was screaming obscenities. Threats. Promises of appeals. The courtroom erupted in applause. I held Emma tight. She was crying. I was crying. It's over, baby, I whispered. It's finally over. Karen Whitmore's appeal was denied 6 months later. Her husband Richard was indicted on 14 federal charges. His trial is pending. But Agent Torres tells me they have him cold. He'll die in prison too. The HOA elected new leadership. The new president, Mrs. Garcia, immediately reversed all of Karen's ridiculous rules. She established a community fund to help families with disabled children. Named it the Emma Mitchell Accessibility Fund. Emma had 3 more surgeries on her shoulder. The nerve damage is permanent. She'll never have full use of her left arm. But she's adapting. She's learning to do things differently. She's back in school. Smiling again. Writing stories about brave kids who overcome bullies. She still has nightmares sometimes. But they're less frequent now. I returned to the bench after 6 months. My first case back was a hate crime trial. I thought of Emma. Of Karen. Of all the victims. I showed no mercy to the defendant. None at all. 2 years after the shooting, Emma and I were invited to speak at a conference about disability rights. Emma wheeled herself onto that stage. In front of hundreds of people. And she told her story. She told them about Karen. About the shooting. About the trial. Bullies count on us being silent, Emma said. They count on us being too scared to fight back. But we can't be silent. We have to speak up. We have to stand up for ourselves and each other. The audience gave her a standing ovation. I stood in the wings, crying with pride. My daughter, my beautiful, brave daughter, was changing the world. After the speech, a young girl in a wheelchair came up to Emma. She was maybe 9 years old. "Are you scared anymore?" the little girl asked. Emma thought about it. Then smiled. "Sometimes," she admitted. "But being scared doesn't mean you give up. It means you have to be brave. And I'm pretty brave." The little girl hugged her. That night, back in our hotel room, Emma was quiet. "What are you thinking about, sweetheart?" I asked. "Karen," she said. "I wonder if she ever thinks about me. If she's sorry." "I don't know, baby. Some people never learn. Some people never feel sorry for what they've done." Emma nodded. "I feel sorry for her." I was surprised. "Why?" "Because she wasted her whole life being mean. Being hateful. She could have been kind. She could have helped people. But she chose hate. And now she has nothing. No family. No freedom. No friends. Just 80 years alone." I hugged my daughter. When had she become so wise? "I don't want to be like her," Emma said. "I want to be kind. Even when people are mean to me. Even when I'm scared. I want to be kind." "You already are, Emma. You already are." It's been 5 years since the shooting. Emma is 17 now. She's applying to colleges. She wants to study journalism and disability advocacy. She wrote her college essay about what happened. About Karen. About finding strength in trauma. Every college she applied to accepted her. She chose Columbia University. She'll be starting next fall. I'm so proud I can barely breathe. Emma still has physical limitations. She'll never have full use of her left arm. She has some chronic pain. But she doesn't let it stop her. She started a blog about disability rights. It has over 50,000 followers. She gives speeches at schools. She mentors other kids with disabilities. My daughter is a force of nature. As for Karen Whitmore, she's in federal prison in Texas. She tried to appeal her sentence 3 times. Denied each time. I heard through the legal grapevine that she's a model prisoner. Quiet. Keeps to herself. No friends. She'll be eligible for compassionate release when she's 92. If she lives that long. Richard Whitmore was convicted on all charges. He got 40 years. He's in a different federal prison. The couple lost everything. Their house. Their cars. Their country club membership. All gone. Assets seized by the government. Good. Our HOA is completely different now. Mrs. Garcia is still president. The community is welcoming. Supportive. Last year, they installed a fully accessible playground. Ramps. Sensory equipment. Wide paths. Children of all abilities play there together. Emma helped design it. On the 5-year anniversary of the shooting, Emma asked to visit the spot where it happened. I was hesitant. But she insisted. We stood in our front yard. The place where Emma had been doing therapy. Where Karen had pulled the gun. Where everything changed. I'm not scared anymore, Emma said. This is my home. I won't let her memory steal that from me. We planted a tree there. A dogwood tree. It blooms every spring with beautiful white flowers. We named it Hope. Because that's what Emma is. She's hope. She's proof that hatred doesn't win. That bullies can be stopped. That justice exists. That evening, I got a letter. From Karen's prison. My hands shook as I opened it. Dear Judge Mitchell. I'm writing to apologize. I know it's too late. I know words can't undo what I did. But I need you to know I'm sorry. I've had 5 years to think about what I did. 5 years to understand the monster I became. I was filled with hatred. With anger. With a need to control everything and everyone around me. I saw Emma, and I saw everything I hated. Imperfection. Vulnerability. Something I couldn't control. So I tried to destroy her. I'm glad I failed. I'm glad Emma survived. I'm glad she's thriving. I follow her blog. I read about her accomplishments. She's an incredible young woman. Everything I'm not. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know that Emma changed me. Not through revenge. Not through hatred. But through her kindness. Her strength. She's everything I should have been. I'll die in here. And that's what I deserve. But I'll die knowing that Emma lived. That she won. That hatred lost. I'm truly sorry. Karen Whitmore. I read the letter 3 times. Then I showed it to Emma. She read it silently. Then folded it carefully. Do you believe her? I asked. Does it matter? Emma replied. Nothing she says changes what happened. But if she really is sorry, if she really changed, then that's good. Not for me. For her. Because living with that guilt is its own prison. My wise daughter. Are you going to write back? I asked. Emma thought about it. Then shook her head. No. That chapter is closed. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not scared anymore. I'm just done. I have a life to live. College to attend. Things to accomplish. I won't spend any more time on Karen Whitmore. She smiled at me. That beautiful smile that lights up the world. I won, Mom. I survived. I'm happy. That's the best revenge. Living well. And she's right. Karen Whitmore tried to destroy my daughter. She failed. Emma is thriving. She's making a difference. She's changing the world. That's real justice. Not revenge. Not hatred. Not even punishment. Real justice is Emma's life. Her happiness. Her success. Real justice is knowing that hatred lost. And love won. Emma graduated from Columbia University with honors. She's now a journalist for a major newspaper. She writes about disability rights. About justice. About standing up to bullies. She just got engaged to a wonderful man she met in college. Marcus is kind. Patient. He loves Emma for exactly who she is. The wedding is next spring. Emma asked me to officiate. As a federal judge, I can do that. I said yes through tears. Last week, I received word that Karen Whitmore died in prison. Heart attack. She was 72. I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No sadness. Just emptiness. I told Emma. She was quiet for a moment. I'll pray for her, Emma finally said. I'll pray she found peace. That's who my daughter is. After everything. After the shooting. After the trauma. After the pain. She chooses kindness. She chooses forgiveness. She chooses love. Karen Whitmore wasted her life on hatred. She died alone. Unmourned. Unloved. Emma Mitchell fills her life with love. She's surrounded by family. Friends. A man who adores her. Work that matters. Who really won? The answer is obvious. Emma won. Love won. And I'm so grateful I got to watch it happen. My daughter taught me something Karen never understood. Revenge isn't about punishment. Real revenge is living well. Real revenge is being happy. Real revenge is refusing to let hatred consume you. Real revenge is choosing joy. Every day Emma smiles, Karen loses again. Every day Emma succeeds, Karen loses again. Every day Emma loves and is loved, Karen loses again. That's justice. That's real justice. And it's beautiful.